Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, box trolls and buttons, missing links of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. Elegant, cultured, radiant, Jay has found a host with all these qualities and more.
To be clear, you're talking about yourself in that sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Of
this is the
course.
speech that the guy gives at his wedding thing.
Yes. Yes. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we are doing a prelude to our Laika series, talking about Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is... Why are we talking about this one? People are probably asking. This isn't
Well,
technically a Laika film.
I saw their name in the credits, though.
Yeah, they did do some work. They were contracted to do some animation work, and a lot of people who would go on to work on the Laika features worked on this. So there's a bit of crossover. I definitely recognize like certain styles of character designs. Like there's a cat early on that looks kind of like the cat from Coraline, or like the Victor's mom looks like one of the old ladies from Coraline. So I don't know how much of that is animators coming in and doing similar things, or if that's just the style that these films have. But
And sometimes they'll just reuse some of their assets, you know?
yeah.
Jack Skellington appears, I think, in James of the Giant Peach as well.
Yeah, which those are both Disney. But yeah,
Well,
this is...
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so what was your... Had you ever seen this before?
Yeah, I do remember seeing a poster of this film during the time it was coming out. But I think the first time I saw this film, or at least most of it, was like on an airplane going somewhere, probably to Brazil or something. I don't know. I remember seeing it on an airplane. I maybe saw it again a couple years back. I don't recall specifically, but yeah, it is a film that I do recall seeing, but I have
Okay.
no strong attachment to this film.
Yeah, me neither. I saw this like on Netflix randomly at one point many years ago, and felt it was okay. And I don't
Yeah,
think my opinion has changed much this
yeah.
rewatch. Yeah, this was released September 23, 2005, directed by Mike Johnson and Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson is an animator. He worked on Henry Selick's A Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach.
Of course.
I am being intentional with my crediting there. Usually it's credited as Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas, but famously Tim Burton did not direct it and was nebulously involved in the production beyond that. Yeah, Tim Burton. He's Tim Burton. What do I have to say about him? Batman, Beetlejuice,
all that jazz.
all
you know?
that. All actually, no, that all that jazz is Bob Fosse.
Anyway.
Big Fish. Yeah. This was written by John August, Carolyn Thompson, and Pamela Petler. It's inspired by a Jewish folk tale, but August wrote the 2000s Charlie's Angels movies and the live-action Aladdin remake. And then also worked with Tim Burton on Big Fish, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Dark Shadows, and Frankenweenie. I think maybe one, possibly two of those movies are... I guess Frankenweenie's fine. But not necessarily the most stellar resume there. Carolyn Thompson wrote... Yeah. We'll get into Burton thoughts later. Thompson wrote for the 90s Addams Family movie The Secret Garden, and also wrote and directed Black Beauty, all of these in the 90s. And then famously worked with Tim Burton on Edward Scissorhands and Henry Selick's A Nightmare Before Christmas. And then Petler wrote for Monster House, Nine, and an unproduced Monopoly movie. Felt like that's relevant to mention for this podcast. That was way back in 2008, and Ridley Scott was supposed to direct. Never got out of development, but yeah. And then we have music by Danny Elfman, of course, famous composer. Mission Impossible, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, 50 Shades of Grey, many
I remember
more.
that soundtrack, of course. Yeah, plays every time I go to sleep.
It is a good sound. Like, okay, we have time for tangents this episode. The 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, specifically the musical score, understands that it's a psychological thriller, not a romance movie. Anyway, that's my
all right.
He also has worked on most of Tim Burton's films.
Yes.
Iconic stuff, Batman, Beetlejuice, everything. And then also wrote, composed, and performed the music for Henry Selick's A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
So this is sort of another musical of his.
Yes. Yes, of course. Anyway, here's the story as it goes. So Victor is the son of wealthy merchants who is engaged to marry Victoria, the daughter of aristocrats who have fallen on hard times. While practicing his vows the night before the wedding, he accidentally places the ring on the hand of a corpse. And the corpse just so happens to belong to Emily, a young bride-to-be who was murdered by her fiancé the night she was meant to elope. Ever since, she has been waiting for someone to come along and marry her, and Emily drags Victor down to the land of the dead. And so Victor tricks Emily into bringing him back to the land of the living, where he runs back to Victoria. And Emily follows him and is distraught to see that Victor lied to her. And so she drags him back down to the land of the dead. And Victoria tries to get help for Victor, but is labeled hysterical. So her parents decide to marry her off to Lord Barkis, a con man posing as a wealthy aristocrat. And so Victor finds out about the wedding and, thinking Victoria has abandoned him, decides to drink a poisoned wine so he can join Emily in death. They go to the land of the living to perform the wedding ceremony, but Emily decides she can't let Victor go through it. And so Victor and Victoria are reunited, but Lord Barkis shows up. Emily recognizes him as the man who murdered her, and then Barkis drinks the wine, not realizing it is poisoned, and dies. With her death avenged, Emily turns into a bunch of butterflies, goes to heaven or something, and Victor and Victoria embrace, and then the film ends. But no.
Yeah, it's kind of a sudden cut to credits.
Yes, it is.
I mean, there isn't anything else for them to go through, but yeah. This is like the most mid 2000s emo Hot Topic Evanescence movie out there.
That
like specifically like teenage. Yeah. The specific brand of like teen mall emo, mall goth.
Yeah, the stuff that Tim Burton just loved, all that style. It's here. Yeah.
Even just like the plot, the focus on romance and death, and it's
yeah, just a healthy dosage of necrophilia,
yeah, that is certainly a thing here. I think it's played for like they play it off well.
Sure, yeah, I do.
But yeah, it is. I mean, just the title. Okay, let's talk about the title. Corpse Bride, such a bad title. Like, it is what the movie is, but who wants to see a movie titled Corpse Bride?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound interesting, at least to me.
The weird Hot Topic individuals, those are the ones who want to see the film.
But I'm a weird Hot Topic individual, John. It just sounds boring to me. Or
you
like
don't
it should
watch
be
a
like
film about a corpse
80s
bride
horror movie. I don't know, something about like maybe it's just like the syllables themselves don't work well. Like it's difficult to say corpse
The
bride.
bride corpse.
Yeah, I don't know. But you think of like A Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yeah.
which this is definitely trying to be similar to that. And just like that title just rolls off the tongue. And it's like it's a pun, it's referencing something that people will be aware of, but like, oh, now there's this new thing we're adding. It's not a night, it's now a nightmare. Whereas like Corpse
Yes.
Bride, it's like,
It's the corpse bride. It's elegant and big wordy, you know.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. It's just such an odd, yeah.
Bride of the Dead. I don't
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the story here?
The story is very simple, very basic. It doesn't really capture me at all. It's just like, yep, here's a basic plot. Oh no, he gets married to the bride, the dead girl. And it's like, okay, yeah, that that's about it. There's not a whole lot of like interest going on. There's not a whole lot like a subplots on just things going on. I guess you have like the villain, but like the villain is doesn't really do anything villainous until like the third act, where he's like, okay, well, you gotta do something now. Let's get married.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad because I know people who really like this film. But yeah, it to me it just kind of felt like when you make a really nice meal and
Mm-hmm.
then you have some left over, so you put it in the fridge, and then the next day you're feeling a little lazy, so you're like, oh, I'll just have this cold. And it's like
Cold,
it doesn't work.
cold pizza. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
it's fine.
cold pizza is fine. Like
It's
I'm
good,
talking a
but
step below cold pizza,
oh,
where it's like, oh, it doesn't have the same flavors.
cold mac and
Like,
cheese.
oh, all yeah, cold mac and cheese is a good. It's like it's missing something, and if you just put it in the microwave for a little bit, it would taste so much better. Like, yeah, so something about it, like it has so much creativity, but it's missing like a spark or something.
Like a stale donut.
Yeah, but not like too stale, just like slightly past.
But it's still like stale. Like again, you put in the microwave, it'll be like perfectly soft and just melts in your mouth. But
Yeah,
like the normal stale, day old donut.
yeah. It's like
It's good.
the,
Like it's edible.
yeah,
You can enjoy it, but like it doesn't like you're not like in love. I
yeah.
guess.
Like the premise here is fun,
Mm,
like really
mm.
fun. Like, oh, guy accidentally marries corpse. It has to like negotiate that.
Yes.
Interesting idea. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere interesting though.
Yeah, because there really is no direction. It's really just
Yeah.
he's married to the corpse, and it's just him trying to get out of it. If there was more of like where she's like, okay, we can, you can let go of me if you just like find my killer or something. I
Yeah.
thought there was that subplot in here, but like I guess that was just me remembering like the final scene of the film where it's like, oh, I guess that's the whole plot right there.
Yeah, there's this film that I saw a few years ago. I don't know if I would necessarily call it good, but it was fun. It's called Marry My Dead Body. It's from
Hmm.
Taiwan, and it's about a ghost marriage, which is this cultural practice in China that where a marriage will happen between someone who has already passed on and either someone who is living or another person who has passed on.
Uh
I'm not
huh.
entirely remembering all of the cultural ideas, but the idea is like, um, oh, let me see. I have the Wikipedia article. Um, so it's about finding harmony in the afterlife. So if a person has died as a bachelor or bachelorette, their spirit will feel lonely. Um, But anyway, in this case, it's more so like the guy who was killed is trying to figure out who murdered him. So this marriage then becomes like, hey, if you help me solve my murder, then I will leave you alone. So
Yeah.
that's more, and this one is much more. It's not Tim Burton-y at all. It's more action comedy.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, the watching Corpse Bride, it's like, oh, they just kind of do stuff for a little bit,
Yeah. We don't
and
really
then
have a clear direction about what we want to do. It's just,
yeah,
oh no, I'm married to this corpse bride. I don't want to be. I want to go out of this thing. That's about it. Meanwhile, Victoria is just like, oh, he's married to the corpse bride. And I'm like, shut up, girl. We're going to marry you off to this other guy. Can't waste the
yeah.
cake.
it's it's weird. It's like, and I guess part of it is just like the entire story is just a series of miscommunications,
Yeah.
and not like that can work, but this isn't an example of that working as a plot. Like the entire story would not happen if Emily had talked to Victor at all, like the first time they met. Because she is under the impression for a good chunk of this film that he has intentionally married her and knows what he was getting into.
Uh huh.
So like when she sees Victor going to Victoria, she is like genuinely upset with him, even though like he never lied to her except for saying that they were going to see his parents.
And he also, like, never brought up the fact, it's like, hey, I'm supposed to marry someone else.
Yeah.
There's no communication at all. It's just
No.
wacky antics. You can't have a film if we have communication, you know?
Yeah, no. I wonder how much of this is taken directly from the Jewish folk tale, cuz stuff like him tricking her by saying, "Hey, we're going to go meet my parents." That feels like something that must be from the folk tale. Or at least that feels very folktale-esque to me, the idea of like trickery to get away from something. So I would imagine in the original folktale that is kind of the end of the story, where he tricks her and then leaves the land of the dead and she can't do anything about it. But I don't know. I don't know. There's the narrative just doesn't quite come together. The songs are a little limp. The jokes don't quite land. There aren't any like narrative surprises. They kind of try and play the Lord Barkus twist off as a surprise, but it's not a surprise.
No.
It would be more surprising if he wasn't the same guy.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess this kind of leads into my thoughts on Tim Burton in general. I was going through, so I haven't seen all of Tim Burton's films. I think I've seen 16 of them, which is a lot, but that's nowhere near all of them. And I was realizing as I was preparing for this episode and looking through them on Letterboxd, I think there are only like 4 or 5 Tim Burton films that I really like.
Mm.
And I really like those films. But it was a little bit like most of his films that I have seen, the other 12 are like, well, I liked parts of it and didn't like other parts, or I didn't like it at all. It's kind of weird because he is a director whose style I really appreciate and enjoy. But yeah, there's more stuff of his that I watched and didn't quite enjoy than stuff that I actually did. Um, just looking at his films briefly, the ones I like are like Batman Returns,
Yeah.
the first Batman as well, though I like that a little bit less. Sweeney Todd, though that one is also like that's a Sondheim musical, so there's other stuff there. That's Edward Scissorhands. But yeah, stuff like, especially around this time, we're starting to see. I think it's this weird thing that Tim Burton started out as this counterculture figure. And that was like his entire identity as an artist was built around, he was this suburban kid, happy middle class lifestyle, but he was obsessed with death and darkness.
Creepy things, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But by the mid 2000s, he has become the culture.
Hmm.
Like, because, in part because of his films are just so successful and people really enjoy the aesthetic. And then you have like emo music and Hot Topic and all of this stuff. Suddenly he is no longer a countercultural figure. He is a mainstream cultural figure. And maybe this also has to do, I know sometimes when artists have kids, that kind of changes their perspective on the world and their approach to art. But it does feel like he maybe loses a bit of his touch around this time.
Yeah, possibly.
Because yeah, we're getting into the time of like, personally I would argue, and I haven't seen absolutely everything he's done post like Sweeney Todd, but I think it's generally accepted that his post Sweeney Todd career is bad. Because you have like Alice in Wonderland, which some people like, some people strongly dislike, but then you have Dark Shadows, you have
Oh yeah.
Dumbo, you have Dumbo's
Well,
fine, but like it's not,
yeah.
yeah. Miss Peregrine's Hope for Peculiar Children, where it
Uh,
almost starts to feel like Tim Burton becomes a knockoff of himself.
yeah, and possibly also he's just making films that he was handed. Because
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know that
yeah.
he desired to do Dumbo and had like this creative
No,
vision for Dumbo.
I mean the whole point of Dumbo, which the thing that I like about Dumbo, the thing that I think works really well is it is about Disney asking Tim Burton to make a Dumbo movie. Because in that, they like, the circus gets bought out by a bigger circus, and Michael Keaton is like the Walt Disney figure.
Uh
Um,
huh.
it's a fascinating remake, but it isn't like Batman Returns, which feels like such a stunning and shocking countercultural moment of like, this artist has a weird perspective on things and is bringing it, or like Beetlejuice, or yeah, his early films just have this thing that his later films don't quite have.
Hmm.
And I think that this is a very good example of that. Even though he didn't direct it, like his authorial prints are very much on Henry Selick's A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And Corpse Bride feels like Tim Burton is trying to reverse engineer the magic of that movie. And even though it's only 13 years later, it's like something that has changed, and he just can't access what made A Nightmare Before Christmas work.
Yeah. I don't.
It's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I should do a full watch through of Tim Burton stuff. I mean, the problem is that like, yeah, his later stuff is kind of depressing because it feels like store brand Tim Burton, but it is actual Tim Burton.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely after 2000s, like his very hit or miss decisions. I like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but
Yeah, I
um
have nostalgia for it, and I think that's like, it is one that I enjoy more than I dislike.
yeah. And
But
sometimes, he
yeah,
does put his like signature style and it's like, oh, okay, it's decent enough. But
yeah.
most times it's just like, yeah, it's Tim Burton. It has like a darker tint to the camera, but that's about it sometimes. We don't
uh,
get that same visual signature
yeah. Did
of
did you
goth.
watch Beetlejuice?
I did not know.
Okay. This isn't a spoiler at all, but if anyone's looking to go in completely blind, I didn't particularly care for it. And one thing that watching it was fascinating to me is you have Lydia Dietz, who, of course, in the first one, she is the Winona Ryder character. And in that one, she's the teen goth, the countercultural person. She doesn't understand the people around her. She's different from everyone. And then in the sequel, um she still like dresses the same, but she has become a square, for lack of a better term. She has become this very typical mother figure. She is, despite her outfits, she is very closely aligned with like a more buttoned up culture.
Mm.
In that kind of like Gen X growing up and realizing, oh, we aren't as different from our parents as we thought we were way. And yeah, it feels to me, either consciously or subconsciously, like Tim Burton's own journey of like, yeah, he has, the culture has now embraced his countercultureness, and now he is the culture and no longer counterculture. And now he's, making Disney movies. And I guess he, A Nightmare Before Christmas, I guess he didn't direct that, but that is a Disney movie, but that's not live action Dumbo remake Disney movie. Yeah,
No,
I don't know. It's fascinating to think about. And yeah,
I don't even think about this thing. So
yeah,
anyway, I gave the story a 3 out of 5. Just to be fair, it didn't really stand out to me. It didn't stand out to me either positive or negative. That's just a fine place to put it.
yeah. I also gave it a 3 out of 5. It definitely feels very symptomatic of some of the issues that Burton is running into.
Mm-hmm. You're a very popular person, Jay.
Oh yeah, my phone keeps going off, so I just put it on silent. Um, yeah, it's, again, it feels like Tim Burton is trying to recapture the magic of A Nightmare Before Christmas, but there's just something has changed. Something isn't quite there. Also, I think, to be fair, I don't know how much involvement Tim Burton had compared to A Nightmare Before Christmas on this one. From what I was reading of the behind the scenes, it actually sounds like Mike Johnson was more of the day to day director, whereas Tim Burton was similar to A Nightmare Before Christmas, sort of overseeing the aesthetic and
mm.
overall big picture stuff. Because he was
Yeah, like
also,
every month or so, they'd send him like some stuff and be like, "Yeah, that looks good. Just do what you
yeah,
do."
yeah. I feel like here he might have been a little bit more involved just because he is credited as a co-director, but he was
Mm.
in production on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as this was being made. So who knows? I don't want to speculate too much. I wouldn't be surprised either way if it was, oh no, Tim Burton was there all the time, or if it was, oh yeah, he popped in every once in a while. But yeah, I think there is like still, even though like this is still very much a Tim Burton film
Mm-hmm.
and has a lot of his hallmark things, as well as like the things that he was starting to fall into here. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
why don't we get into some characters then?
Yeah, characters.
Characters.
Victor,
Victor. He's
he's
there.
he's the standard Tim Burton protagonist.
He's the Johnny Depp.
Elfin, yep. He's a wet noodle, though somewhat
Uh huh.
endearing.
Sure.
I guess
He played.
that's not a typical Tim Burton protagonist thing. This is the thing of like Edward Scissorhands, which is probably the closest to this character in another Tim Burton film, feels like a more interesting character than Victor does. Because he has this, like, he is a fish out of water in the way that Tim Burton felt growing up, of like, here he is in this like suburban middle class environment, but he's, a goth guy with scissors for hands. Whereas like Victor, yeah, he's just like, I guess he's a little more soulful, but we don't get a sense for the society he's in.
Mm-hmm.
beyond just like his parents, and his parents are like great, but they don't seem. Yeah, I don't know. There's something missing there for his characterization.
He plays the piano good.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yep.
uh, yeah. Any thoughts on Victor?
There is no thoughts in Victor. He's just there to get the quote unquote plot moving. He's the guy that makes things happen and then solves it by the end, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Emily, again, most of the problems of the movie would have been solved if she had actually slowed down and talked to Victor. Though I do understand the thing from her perspective that like she has been waiting for this for so long and just kind of jumps to conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, like even though she is I blame the screenwriters for that more than her character. I think her motivations as a character are well done. I just think the way they are expressed in the film doesn't quite work.
Yeah. She's there. She's just kind of like a vanilla. Uh, what Sally from Nightmare?
Yeah, yeah. Though I guess here she's I don't know, she reads as a little bit different. She seems a little more mature in that she
Yeah.
has had this like bad experience and has learned at least something from it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a better version of this film would find something more interesting for this character to do because she is a very interesting character of like yeah this person who was like who learned a lesson in the most horrible way possible about love and romance and then but
Uh,
is still holding out hope for it
yeah.
and then
I mean,
has to
there could be a role reversal. Like instead of having it be she drags Victor down to the land of the dead, what if she tries to stay in the land of the living to be with Victor and realize that she's the outcast and can't stay up here? Have that be more of her journey instead of them just
yeah
partying down there and you know.
I wonder if you cut out Victoria. I guess if you cut out Victoria, then there's no reason for Victor to stay in the land of the living, or you have to invent a new reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it feels like her character would be a little more interesting. Though I do understand, like, I imagine without having talked to people who enjoy this film, I imagine that the people who enjoy this film enjoy it because of Emily's character.
Sure.
Because there is like something very interesting there. Even just like the way she carries herself and the confidence she has. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found her a more interesting character than the film really has space to explore.
Yeah. She was there for
Victoria
me. Yeah.
Victoria on the
Victoria?
other hand is uh they try so hard to not make her the damsel in distress
Mm-hmm.
and it completely falls backwards and ends up just being worse because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Like
I
she's
found
such a
it
passive
interest
character.
I I found it interesting like when she and Emily first quote unquote met, but then they don't do anything with that. She's like,
No.
"Hey, there's a corpse bride," and they're like, "Yeah, okay, kid. Here, here's some pills."
Yeah. Yeah, that she like there's no she doesn't take initiative when she really should. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. To me it feels like they were like, okay, or they had finished a version of the script and had taken it to someone to look over, probably a woman, and said, "Hey, tell us what's wrong with the women characters." And someone said, "Well, Victoria has literally no agency in this story." So like, okay, we'll give Victoria agency. Okay, so she sees the corpse bride and is like, "Hey, everyone, there's a corpse bride," and everyone's like, "Too bad. You're hysterical." There, we gave her agency and changed nothing else. She has one moment where she gets agency.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel bad because I think there is, again, another version of this character that might work better is what if instead of going to find help, she actually like tries to go to the land of the dead?
yeah. She actively tries to like do something to solve the situation instead of being caught up in another marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Have something there.
Mm-hmm.
I here's something that I had forgotten wasn't in this film, and I must be confusing it with something else because I think this is a plot point in other stuff. But the idea that I was thinking this was about was that, oh yeah, if someone who is dead marries someone who is living, then they get to go back to the land of the living. But that's not even a topic that is broached at all in this.
No.
But that might be an interesting way to go about this, of like, what if Emily has a different motivation for wanting to get married rather than just wanting to get married?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's I guess that's maybe the biggest problem with the movie is that I don't care about Victor and Victoria's relationship. They meet once and kind of hit it off,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. He plays the piano. Uh, she there. She, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
They
Every
look,
reading through the
they look
letterbox
pretty.
reviews. Yeah, reading through the
Yeah.
letterbox reviews, it did not strike me that anyone felt that Victor and Victoria should have ended up together at the end of the movie.
Nope.
All of the reviews were shipping either Victor and Emily or Emily and Victoria.
Yeah. I mean,
Which, yeah, Victor and Emily, they spend most of the movie together
uh
and they
huh.
have a connection.
Of sorts. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Emily and Victoria, well, yeah, because everyone's going to ship the characters as a gay couple. So have to do that. But yeah, no, Victor and Victoria are like the most boring pairing you could get out of this triangle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It also doesn't help that this entire film was also gray and no real pop of color except for the dead.
Yeah, that it's an interesting visual choice that I don't think works out narratively.
Mm-hmm.
That the land of the living is presented to us as such a drab and horrible place, and the land of the dead is vibrant and
I
full
mean,
of
you
life,
can like
for
change it
lack
up
of
a
a
little
better
bit
word.
where it's like, okay, whenever Victoria and Victor are together, you put in a pop of color to like
Yeah,
signify, oh, here's like a good semblance of joy in this relationship. But nope, only slight hints of colors like her blushing, and that's very slight.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, again, I will get to it in visuals. I think it is like a really interesting aesthetic choice,
Mm-hmm.
but it does not work at all on a narrative level. But yeah,
Yep.
Barkus, Lord Barkus. He is the Preminger, but kind of boring.
Yeah, he's just like there in the background, just watching everything go down, and then just doesn't really seem to have any relationship with anyone until he decides, hey, I could marry your girl. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't a he doesn't get the time to have he doesn't even really have a plan. Like he just shows up to the wedding. He doesn't know that Victor's gonna flub his lines or and then go off and marry a corpse. What was his plan going to this wedding?
I don't know. Just poisoned him
Like
or something. I don't know.
we don't see any of that though.
Maybe he just
What
goes to weddings and hopes that things are like terrible so that he can like swoop in and save the day.
yeah.
May-
it seems like such a weird. We don't even really know much about like him as a character beyond that he just wants money.
what is his relationship to all the other characters? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why? How did this arranged marriage happen?
What
They
one
were
thing that confused me is like, why did he kill Emily?
because
Like,
she had money. I think maybe.
she had jewels on her and a little money, but if he had gone through and married her, I guess they were eloping, so there wasn't much money in it for him anyway. But it seems like at that point you just cut your losses and go to someone else rather than like this elaborate plot to murder someone in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably like an inheritance scheme or something, but it's
But
just not.
how there's no inheritance money for him to have because he's not on the will.
I don't
It,
know. It must have been like a
yeah.
different culture where it's like as soon as you automatically get married, no paperwork needed. All your stuff,
Well, but they
all her
didn't get
stuff is
married.
your stuff.
They
Did they
didn't
not?
get married. No, they were going to elope, and then
Okay.
he murdered her because that's the whole thing. That's why she's wearing the wedding dress, but she isn't married
Okay.
because they were going to get married, and then yeah, it seems like such a like we needed a villain, so we're going to back ways justify it.
Yeah. No. Like there are many ways you can make this character work. All the ways that we mentioned, like the
Yeah,
the typical schemes, even just the Preminger character. But no, it's just
even if he's
undefined.
just like even if he isn't after wealth, he's just like he enjoys murdering people. Like that's
I,
maybe a little dark for a PG-13 movie, but you could do that.
and then he just drinks the wine. I don't know
Yes.
why. Just this random wine in the middle of a church. I'm
With a
gonna go.
giant skull on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink this wine because I don't know. We have to end this film somehow. We don't
Yeah.
want to commit murder. You know?
That okay, this is going back to story stuff, but it baffles me. Who is this for?
Huh? Yeah.
Specifically, like, oh, it's a PG. What? This is rated PG. Okay, never mind.
Mm.
I was going to say this is PG-13. You could get away with so much more, but no. Apparently, the MPAA saw all of this and was like, "Good for children."
With some parental guidance, you know.
Yep. Gonna give this the same rating as Lilo and Stitch.
Hey, you know, Hunchback of Notre Dame is rated G.
Well, that's because Disney and the G rating.
Yeah.
Specifically,
What?
Toy Story
When's the
4.
When's the last time you watched Hunchback?
Oh, I have not seen it in a while, but I watched the
Watch it.
Hellfire scene. I
No,
rewatch the Hellfire scene all the time.
yeah, but
So
like
I know.
everything else surrounding the film, it's like this should not be G. A little more PG than this film. Anyway.
I guess they probably couldn't have gotten funding for this if this was PG-13, but that seems like such a missed opportunity. Because that's the thing that could make this different from Nightmare Before Christmas. Is hey, this is a little bit more grown up. We're targeting the teen demographic instead of the kids demographic. Let's do a little bit more, push things a little bit farther in terms of the violence and the just like make the character, the villain, a little bit more sadistic.
Maybe they weren't quite ready for that, and that's when
Yeah.
Laika decided to we'll just make Coraline. You know, we'll go a little bit darker in that route.
Which is also PG.
Well,
Yeah. It's interesting what films get what ratings. But yeah, this should be PG-13. It's titled Corpse Bride. What parent sees the title Corpse Bride and goes, "Oh, perfect. I know where we're taking the kids."
maybe Tim Burton was like, "Oh, I don't think anybody's gonna see the PG-13 version of this film. We gotta make it like kid friendly, because otherwise the parents will
I
yell at
think
me
that's the
again."
studio. I don't think that's Burton. I think that's the
Ah,
studio being like, we won't make money if we don't. Let me see how much. I'm curious now, since we're talking about this, how much this made,
hmm,
because I think it
yes.
did decently well financially. Though the problem with stop motion animation in general, and we'll talk about this when we get into the Laika stuff specifically, is that it's relatively expensive to make it look smooth and pretty. Um, but there isn't like a huge audience for it. Okay, yeah, so this made 114 million worldwide, which is not great on a budget of 40 million. Okay, so it did
Mm,
make its budget back. Probably didn't do a whole lot more than that. But yeah, Chicken Run is the highest grossing stop motion film of all time, and that made 224 million worldwide,
mm.
compared to like Inside Out 2 made 1.5 billion or something.
Yeah,
So I definitely see from the studio's perspective of like, we can't have this be PG-13. Yeah, Corpse Bride is the fourth highest grossing stop motion film.
also they can't really do any reshoots if they
Yeah,
have to change anything, so it's just, well, we're gonna stick with it. Let's just play it safe for now. If we want to do something more, do it in a future time.
yeah. Except I mean, this Tim Burton's only other stop motion film is Frankenweenie, which is even tamer than this, I would say.
But yeah, but that's a Disney one, so
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
yeah, you know.
I keep hearing rumors that he might, or that there might be another Nightmare Before Christmas movie, and I'm kind
I've
of surprised
heard.
there hasn't been yet.
I don't know what you'd even do for a sequel.
I think after Beetlejuice, they kind of have to.
Eh,
As in, like, the studio is Disney is looking at their money, at their list of properties that they haven't used in a while, and then they're
uh,
looking at Beetlejuice making like a ton of money, and be like, hey, we have Tim Burton's number, and he will do studio slop for us.
yeah, but still, we don't want them to do that.
No, I don't. I think that's a bad idea. I think
Sequels out
give
after
Henry
30
Selick
years is like a really difficult thing to do.
give Henry Selick the money to finish his movie that he has been trying to make for a long time. Do that instead of that we'll talk about that when we do the Coraline episode. We'll get more into like Leica and their side of the business, because there's a fascinating history with Leica specifically that doesn't have anything to do with Tim Burton or
Sure.
this film.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah, Elder Goodnick. There's not much to say about him.
He reads a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were doing the whole build up to like, oh, he's gonna be so scary, and then he turns around and he's just like a normal skeleton.
With a beard. Yeah.
Like, I
Not
thought
even a beard.
either,
Yeah.
yeah, he should look more like, he should either be scarier or funnier looking. He just looks like generic background skeleton that we've seen already. And I guess they're doing the whole, I do like the idea that like the people in the land of the dead are in the state that their corpse is in, so like all of the skeletons are people. Like, yeah, that makes sense. It was just a little bit of a letdown after the build up. But yeah, then we have the maggot. I think he's kind of fun as he's utilized as this like voice inside Emily's head.
Sure.
Like, that is, to me, the most interestingly macabre thing in the film. Of like, oh yeah, Emily just has this like guy in her head.
Yeah. For some reason, it's Peter Lorre.
Yep. But yeah, I guess again, I was thinking this was PG-13. I did not realize
Hmm.
that this was PG. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess they
Otherwise,
couldn't have really
they'd
done
show
much more.
us, them beating
Her
the
eye
crap out
falls
of.
out. How is this PG-13? Her eye falls out multiple times.
Well,
She is decaying.
no blood or anything, just like limbs and
She
such.
is a decaying corpse.
Yeah.
Hey, MPAA, our film has a decaying corpse as its protagonist. Oh, good. Children will love this.
Oh, she's blue. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Again, I don't. Good on the MPAA for giving this a PG, but wild that anyone thought that was a good idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, the parents, they're all kind of horrible people to varying degrees.
Yeah.
They don't matter.
Victor's parents, they just run off into the sunset with no driver.
Yeah, what happened to them?
I don't know. I
Uh,
guess they moved away. They missed the
yeah,
wedding.
yeah, yeah. I thought they were going to die and end up in the land of the dead. Again, I have seen this before, but I don't remember any of it. So when I was watching
Hmm.
it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. They die and then end up in the land of the dead, and then Victor's like, oh no. Then I realized I was thinking of a completely different Tim Burton movie, which I won't
Yeah.
spoil. But yeah, yeah,
I remember. I thought that there was gonna be more conflict between the bride and like the living townspeople, but no, there wasn't. I'm thinking of Frankenstein, but
yeah.
but still,
That's the thing, is like this movie reminds you of so many other movies, and you're watching it going like, oh yeah, obviously this then happens, and it doesn't happen, and you're like, oh yeah, because this is a worse version of all of those things.
sure, yeah.
And it's like, it's not bad. Again, going to the characters, I gave the characters a 2.5 out of 5. They're not bad, they just aren't interesting in a way that makes me say, hey, watch this instead of A Nightmare Before Christmas or
Mm-hmm.
anything else. Frankenstein, Frankenweenie. Watch that. Don't watch Corpse Bride.
Yeah, I gave this a very generous 3. Yeah, moving on.
Animation.
Animation.
What are your thoughts on stop motion?
I have high respect for stop motion animation. It is very difficult to do and do it just smoothly with moving cameras as excellently as these studios. It also doesn't get any love at all, no respect. The people don't understand how hard and difficult it is. So anytime I see something with stop motion, I'm always like happy and in awe, and automatically give it high scores because just how difficult it is to do this thing. Um, and yeah, sometimes the difficult thing about doing stop motion is that you can't have any mistakes, and you have to know what you want to do ahead of time, because like we can't do reshoots, because like reshooting like a whole scene can take months, as opposed to like a few hours on your computer. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a dedicated art form.
Yeah, it's a sad thing that was sort of killed off when uh, Jurassic Park decided to use CG dinosaurs instead of the Phil Tippett. I don't know if it's Phil Tippett, but the
It was yeah, it was Phil Tippett. Yeah.
okay, Phil Tippett's like stop motion ones they had.
Yeah. Did you, I guess you probably didn't see it because I don't think it's up your alley. Did you see his feature film that he did
Mad
a
God.
couple years ago? Yeah.
I want to see it. I'm
Okay.
curious to see what it is. It's just not anywhere for me to see it at this time. So
Yeah. I found it a little overwhelming but very well designed. Just
mm,
aesthetically, it's a little beyond the stuff that I enjoy. Even though I do enjoy darkness and creepy stuff. It was
Yeah,
maybe
even though I do really like stop motion animation, most of the time I don't really care for the stories that the people are trying to do with it.
okay.
So it's just I'm there to appreciate the visuals and not much else.
Yeah. Yeah, because I find stop motion part of what makes it interesting to me is there is just a little element, especially this like type of puppet stop motion
Mm,
animation. Um, there's something a little off-putting about it just inherently that when you're doing A Nightmare Before Christmas or Corpse Bride or especially Coraline, which we're going to talk about next week, that it enhances the sense of creepiness in those stories. But it can also be very like beautiful and gorgeous and pretty. But yeah, I tend to like the stop motion films that are a little bit more off kilter.
mm.
Even just something like Fantastic Mr. Fox, which isn't creepy but has a
Works for
different
the
rhythm to it.
style of the creators. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm just thinking of I have the list of the highest grossing stop motion animated films pulled up
Hmm.
right now and looking over thinking about I like a lot of these.
Yeah. Yeah. With this film, there's not a ton of color in this film. It's very gray looking, which doesn't make the stop motion pop out as much as you'd like it to.
I really like the black and white, almost black and white, very heavily desaturated look of the the um the land of the living. That's what it's called. The upstairs. I think it looks just very interesting. Again, I think it's a bad narrative choice because it doesn't make the land of the living look like a place that you would want to live compared to the land of the dead, which is so colorful and vibrant.
Hmm.
But I actually really did like the color choices from just a pure aesthetic level. And yeah, it's interesting that then Tim Burton's next stop motion film is entirely in black and white. Have you seen Frankenweenie?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sort of similar, but yeah,
So,
aesthetically, just like uh, yeah, I'm just looking at the main characters look exactly the same.
yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, even just like the stop motion here is very well realized. It's very smooth. I was actually doing a bit of watching some behind the scenes featurettes, and for the faces they actually had like they were mechanical, so they could change the expressions by like there were gears and stuff inside the faces that they could shift and do different expressions. um
Yeah, I did think that their their mouth movements were like very more smoother than what I remember other stuff being, because usually you can really tell when the characters speak that there's like not perfect movement, but here it was like, huh. I was like, how are they doing that? Are they like replacing the mouth, or are they like adjusting something? But hearing that it's mechanical makes sense now. It's like, okay,
yeah,
now it makes sense.
it's incredible watching the behind the scenes stuff and seeing like they'll have like the tiny little keys like watchmakers will have that they're like turning little things in the head and it's changing the mouth expression. It looks so cool. And yeah, very different from because Leica uses face
Heads.
replacement stuff, so they build well yeah the thing that they I don't know if they innovated this. I think they innovated this though, that they have face plates that can be swapped out, so the puppet remains the same but then they're swapping the face itself.
I think Aardman was developing the same thing around
Oh,
that
okay,
time.
yeah, again
I
i
don't know
don't i
which
don't
one
remember
came
if they
from.
yeah
Because before Nightmare, all they did was like replace the heads with like a different mouth shape, which I bet was so
yeah
annoying because the slightest thing would change. Even like
yeah
changing the mouth thing with the plate could also be annoying. But yeah, this mechanical thing was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it's also just it sounds like it was a nightmare to implement because they were having to bring in because these are like even though the dolls are large, they're still small dolls, and so the mechanisms to do these things are so tiny. So I think it was for this one. It might have been for a different one where they were using a similar thing, but they actually had to like bring in Swiss watchmakers to do some of the like building of the mechanisms. Which yeah, that I could see how like just having 3D printed faces for the puppets, that's probably at the very least a little cheaper, if not just entirely easier to work with.
Yeah. Like when it's running smoother, you could probably like get it done faster with less detail issue than having to replace the head and have like it move by um a
Yeah.
micrometer or something, you know.
Oh. But yeah, that's the fascinating thing about stop motion is how time and labor intensive it is, and it always ends up being a work of love because of that. Like
Yeah.
you're putting so much effort into it that you can't just crank it out easy. It's not like those CG. I guess even some of the Barbie movies you covered kind of fit into this of just like, oh yeah, we'll slap some stuff together, and obviously those do also take time and effort. Um, but yeah, this is a completely different level in terms of the dedication. And that is something that when we talk about Laika, some of the criticisms of Laika are how their stop motion is so tweaked and perfected, and it almost doesn't look like stop motion anymore.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll talk about that. I think Missing Link is the one that maybe got the most criticism for that. But yeah, no, I love stop motion. I
Yeah.
love what can be done with it and how big and expansive of a medium it is and how tactile it all is.
Yeah. I mean, growing up on YouTube watching like stop motion Lego videos, it's like
Yes.
you and I experiment with stop motion
Yes.
in our day, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, it was like 1 frame per minute, but we tried to do stop
Yep.
motion. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly want to um go back and try doing that kind of stop motion again, knowing what I have now learned and hopefully being a little bit better at it. But even stuff like this has absolutely nothing to do with Corpse Bride, but actually it came out I think the year after Corpse Bride by Christian Chavatsky, Blood Tea and Red String, which we talked about over on
Oh
the
yeah, we did.
console of podcast name in brackets for the top 5 of 2006.
It's just podcast
But
name in brackets.
okay.
The thing. Yeah.
Yes, cross promotion. But that one was actually made by a singular artist working for
Mm.
10
Mhm.
years.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, just yeah, incredible what can be done and how personal it can be. Yeah, stop motion. I love it. I'm glad we're talking about Leica because it gives me space to talk about how much I love stop motion. While also
Yeah.
acknowledging that there is some Leica has some level of controversy from stop motion enthusiasts because of, I mean, honestly, part of it is just like because of how good it looks. But then there is stuff of them using methods that are not stop motion to make things look a little smoother.
Oh, we'll get to that, I'm sure.
uh, but yeah, I give the visuals here a 4.5 out of 5. Just phenomenal artistry. I love the aesthetics of everything. My one problem is, again, the Land of the Dead looking so vibrant ends up undercutting the narrative of the film.
Hmm. Yeah, I gave the animation a 5. I have issues with some like coloring and detail, but like because I recognize the work, the lot of the work that goes into it, and I love the work that goes into it. I automatically give it a 5. So
Yeah. Oh, we
that's not
didn't
going to
even talk about.
change for the rest of the thing. So
We didn't even talk about Emily and just how interesting she is from a visual perspective. How there's like the different parts of her body are at different levels of decay, and that lets them do some things of like, oh yeah, she trips on a root and her leg has now fallen off. Just fun little things like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Again, I want to like this more than I end up liking it because the animation is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, on to performances.
Performances. They're
Johnny Depp.
there.
Um,
There's
yeah,
some
I don't.
recognizable voices.
Yeah, we won't get into there's personal issues with Johnny Depp that we don't need to get into here. Um, I do just want to
Wasn't
say
plot.
that we are aware of that stuff. But yeah, the I don't know that I like him as Victor. I think he's maybe a bit too old for the role, but I don't know who could have played that role at this time.
It was just fine. I didn't have anything
Yeah,
to say about it. Yeah.
I think Emily Watson. Maybe it's just because I really recognized her voice, but I really liked her as Victoria.
Hmm.
I thought she brought a lot of personality to a role that very easily could have had no personality. And Helena Bonham Carter as Emily, like, yeah, this is a very good role for her.
Yeah, just like a lot of familiar names for Tim Burton, of
Yeah.
course. You got Christopher Lee here,
Yes.
almost
Um
wasted a little bit. Richard E. Grant.
Oh,
I
Richard
was
E.
a little
Grant is so good.
like I heard his voice. I was like, I could picture that being Richard E. Grant. I was like, why can he do more than just
Yeah.
this
No,
simple character?
he is so overqualified for the role. Like him playing a villain, that's perfect casting. You just need to give him better things to do. I was just watching something with him in it, but that isn't relevant to this, so I will skip that tangent.
Who's Bone Jangles?
Bone Jangles, that's the skeleton that sings the song when they first go to the land of the dead.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
So yeah, Danny Elfman is doing the singing here like he did with um or at least doing that singing like he did with Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah. Then we got N. Reitel doing the Peter Lorre impression for the maggot.
Yeah, I thought that performance was an interesting choice, but not one I disliked.
Yeah, it's anytime someone decides, oh, let's just do that typical Peter Lorre cartoon design and voice. It's like, okay, I guess that's a choice.
uh, yeah, I give the voice acting a 3.5 out of 5.
So did I.
And yeah, finally on to sound. Um,
Yeah.
Danny Elfman's score, it was playing in the background of the behind the scenes features that I was watching, and I'm like, oh yeah, the score itself is gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, the score is gorgeous, but musical
The
numbers
musical
are
numbers, I don't remember
there.
any of them.
No, I don't. I don't either.
And I've seen this film twice, and I saw it last night, and I do not remember any of the songs.
Yeah,
You could cut
like,
out the songs and you would lose nothing. Like the
no.
only reason they are here is because Nightmare Before Christmas had songs.
Yeah. All you need is the piano, and that's gorgeous enough. You
Yeah.
don't need the numbers.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
Again, I think that's part of why this feels like a downgrade from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sure. Yeah. I gave the music a 3.5
Yeah.
because the
And I
score
gave it a
itself is
3.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that leaves me with a 16.5 out of 25, which is a 66% or a 3.3 out of 5 stars.
And I gave it an 18, which is 72% or a 3.65 star rating. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Corpse
Yeah,
Bride.
when I added this to the schedule, I was like, "Oh, this should be interesting to talk about." And then when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, I guess is it going to be as interesting as I thought it was going to be?
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was like, oh, it's been a while since I've seen Corpse Bride. It's like, oh, I wonder if it's like more interesting than I thought when I was a teenager. And then watching it, it's like, nope, it's just I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Next week we have Coraline, which I don't know how you feel about it, but is
I
one of my
have
all-time favorites.
I have a pass with Coraline. I'm sure we'll get into
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I am curious. We also will have a guest, my friend Rachel, who is a big fan of Coraline. So
cool,
we
cool.
should have a little bit more interesting things to say about that one. I feel like we said interesting things about Corpse Bride. It's just not a particularly interesting film to watch.
I didn't think anything I said was interesting, but sure, yeah, why not?
Oh,
Anyway, oh, I'm not gonna say that here. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave a 5-star review and go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. And anyway, we will be back next week to officially begin our Laika series by talking about Coraline. And until then, practice your wedding vows on something other than a corpse. Bye.
bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.